What's up guys, welcome to a new video. My name is Joop van de Clips, aka Macaroni with the Cheese, and today I'm trying to explain what there's going on, because there's a big war going on, as in for the layer 2s. So currently the price of Bitcoin is 58,637, and we have seen that we were up in a downtrend. We're on the daily today. So earlier today there were 2 red candles this week, but today is turning green again. We're basically waiting what Bitcoin's gonna do after try to shake out all the leverage that's been playing in the market, and also the Mt. Gox information that's been spread. And what we also see is that the Bitcoin dominance is still very low. It is at 42%, 42.2. So what do we do is basically waiting when Bitcoin is going back to the 50% range. But in the meantime, that means that this could also have a good indication that the alt season is coming. Because if we look up the total tree, that's the total market, exclude Bitcoin and Ethereum, we see that we are around the way of the all-time high of 1.12 trillion. We're now at 984 billion. So that's very good to know. But today I want to talk about the war that's been going on, because there's basically a war going on about the layer 2s. Everyone knows that Ethereum is very expensive in terms of the gas fee that we pay for the transactions. So a lot of people, a lot of developers, and a lot of projects are trying to come with a next layer 2 solution to organize a good layer 2 solution which can help to decrease the gas fees that everyone is paying on Ethereum. Because the Ethereum blockchain is pretty expensive. As of more people are trying to use Ethereum, it gets more cheap, it gets more expensive, and people pretty much are fed up with it, paying an amount of maybe $200 to $300 in an average for transactions. Sometimes $100, sometimes $80, but sometimes $200 to $300. So Vitalik Buterin, the CEO and founder of Ethereum, basically said that the roll-ups on top of Ethereum are basically a good development, and even in the near future with ET 2.0 we still gonna see layer 2 solution. So the first one that was Polygon, but Polygon is pretty much a side chain and it's pretty much hackable. It didn't really make use of the Ethereum security, but now there are pretty much a lot of other solutions that can build on top of Ethereum, which now they can make use of the security that Ethereum is giving them. So the main thing that a layer 2 wants is they want to all have these 3 components. That means they want to have security, they want to have scalability, but they also want to have the interoperability. They can communicate with the Ethereum blockchain. So I found an article from dcbuilder.eth. You all should follow him on Twitter, it's the same tag, where he basically explains what's been going on lately, as in the layer 2 in Ethereum. So in this article, he talks about the layer 2s on Ethereum, the state of current scaling ecosystem, and why he believes running L2 on top of Ethereum is the most economically and technical sustainable scaling solution long term. So these are the few things that he pretty much round up. And the first one is users won't interact with Ethereum mainnet, as this will only serve as the data available layer for L2. Modular blockchains are most economically and technically viable long-term scaling design option. Currently, Ethereum is the dominant blockchain in the modular domain, and it has very strong security, which will greatly increase with the switch to proof of stake. We all know that Ethereum is switching to proofs of stake from the proof of works consensus. So they're pretty much developing a lot of new things, new strategies to make this a pretty much #1 smart contract platform because it's still the #1. We see a lot of other blockchains trying to do what Ethereum is doing, but we can knock Ethereum down because it's basically the #1. So the last one is the validation L2 infrastructure validated and Z-Corp is emerging as the golden standard for the ZK virtual machine based layer 2s. And this one is important too. Layer 2s use ETH for gas but are incentive to creative DAO convergence tokens to decentralize operations over time. So what is an L2? An L2 is a type of scaling solution that has separate execution layers where code runs EVM that inherits the security guarantees and decentralization of the network running on top of the L1, Ethereum in our case. That means that if the L2 were go to dark due to a bug, infrastructure exploit, or outrage, the funds are safely secured by the L1 within smart contract bridges. And yeah, you can basically do that on-chain or off-chain. On-chain, you would do it by CK rollup. And but first of all, what these chains have to be, there are two solutions, as in the validated proof, where you have to be validating the transaction, and the other one is not validating. That means it's pretty much hackable. You can say that if someone said that the transaction is not legal, they pretty much can say, oh, the transaction didn't go correctly. But what's very significant about this is that Arbitrum #1 is an optimistic rollup. That means it is a fraud proof. So I find it very odd that it's still the #1, because this is an overview of all the L2s currently. And what we see in front of us is that Arbitrum is the #1 with a 2.7 billion value locked. And Boba Network is basically a fork of Omizigo, is the #2. We also see DYDX, the exchange. And the technology is CK rollup, Loopring, CK rollup, Optimism is an optimistic rollup. So basically these 5 are the top 5 who's doing it. And I've seen that Immutable X is making a lot of noise. So there's pretty much a war going on. What's very important to say is that off-chain is faster, but it is less secure. And on-chain is slower, but it's more secure. And we all want our funds to be secured rightfully. So this is a small explanation of how it works. So Ethereum is the layer 1, and what these layer 2 projects are doing, they pretty much try to play in on the scalability, and they also want to be interoperable with Ethereum, and they want the security as of this. So what the execution layer is pretty much badging up all these transactions and put it in one transaction and then send it to the layer 1 solution. And another layer on, for example, layer 2 Arbitrum is a virtual machine that has the same code as the Ethereum, the Solidity code language, and that makes it interoperable with the Ethereum blockchain. And the execution layer is pretty much batch up all the transactions, it creates a blocks and then send it to the Ethereum L1. So these are pretty much the ones that making noise currently. As I said, the #1 is Arbitrum. It is EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine interoperable. It's scalable, but it does not have security. And it works on an optimistic rollup. The Arbitrum is still expensive, but they try to upgrade it with the Arbitrum Nitro. But I have seen this, but it's still expensive. So the #2 is that I've been researching, not on this list, is Optimism. It's basically similar as Arbitrum. Also, it has Ethereum compatibility, scalability, but you do need a whitelist to use it, and it works on fraud proofs. So it has not a good security. And #3 is Boba Network, who's been making noise with a fork on the Omizigo. these three are basically the same. All three of them have a good EVM, they are scalable, but they don't have a good security. So the zero knowledge one does not have a EVM, it's not scalable, but it has a good security. And the one that I've been looking for, and I'm basically very bullish on, is Metis. So Metis is the one who has it all. It basically is interoperable with the Ethereum blockchain, but they call it the Metis virtual machine. It works on multiple chains by sharding, so it's scalable, and it has its security. So the rest of the list are the ZK Rollups L2 solutions. And what we see is that only Starknet has all three components, but it's still in test phase. And as of StarkX, it works with a volition or on and off volition. That means you basically can make a choice of your own if you want. So let's compare them all. The Metis, the Optimism, Arbitrum. They all three are optimistic rollups, and they're all compatible with Ethereum. Metis has its own virtual machine called the Metis VM, Optimism VM, and the Arbitrum VM. So they're all compatible with the Ethereum blockchain. Dispute scheme is L2 ranges proof from. They all operate on a fraud proof on-chain. Arbitrum permissionless staking. And the validation is in times for Metis, and for Optimism it is a few days, and Arbitrum in days. So Metis also has a decentralized storage integration, the IPFS. The other two has none. Is it scalable? It's high scalability. Optimism mid-low scalability, and Arbitrum mid. EVM compatibility, solidity contracts, all three of them. And the Metis have a verifiers as collateralized L2 ranges. Optimism no, and Arbitrum verifiers bet with their stake on the right state history. So to compare them, it seems like Metis is the one that we should all be focusing on, as I said. And yes, I will continue this video. Yeah, and more security that's be slower, or less security that's faster. So that's basically one of the decisions that you can make with volition. I've known that StarkX gives you the option to choose these, and we all know DYDX. So yeah, that's basically what's been said in this whole article. And I've been telling people about the modular and monolithic blockchain. What this means is basically we now are going to another era wherein there's not only going to be the old modular blockchains, as in that the old transaction, the three factors are going to play within one blockchain. No, it's going to be separated. So one blockchain is going to focus on security decentralization, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but another blockchain is going to work with these L1s and focus on scalability. And that is basically what we are doing, and that's the whole thing. So the modular approach essentially consists of primary network that prioritize security and decentralization so that it can act as a data availability for layer 2. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to talk about. And these are 3 examples, as I said. The optimistic rollups, it has the highest TVL at this moment, as we can see. Arbitrum, and yeah, but it's still expensive. This is one good to say. The future of Arbitrum. Arbitrum is trying to This is a good example of the trend of ZKification, where many projects are pivoting towards ZK future as the execution environment is more flexible and arguably more scalable once the technical implementation of the ZK-L2 is better researched and allows for generalized EVM computing. So all these solutions try to pivot to the ZKification, as we can see, and they all try to go to this where it's secure, but it's still not fast because it's on chain, but it's still secure, and you can make the option to choose if you want to do it on chain or off chain. So yeah, second is Optimism, as I said, OVM 2.0, and the one that I've been focusing on is Metis. So Metis, yeah, staking will come in 26 November. So Metis is basically a DAO, and it also does NFTs, and it's pretty much focusing on low gas fees, fast transactions, native storage, but they do try to construct the old DAO, so a decentralized autonomous company instead of a decentralized autonomous organization, but it's basically the same thing. So this is the one that I've been very bullish on. It has a low market cap, 197 million, and we have a fully diluted market of 1.1 billion. So that means there's a lot of growth. I do think it could be a coin of about $400, $500. So I've pretty much been very bullish. And I've been bullish because of this guy, Billy Bob Baghold. He basically made a thread about Metis and made me dive deeper in it. So he said he's aped into Metis around a month upon recommendation from someone I trust. Since then, I did more research and there have read, the more impressed I became. So it will go, I think, will become dominant L2. It's impressive tech partners team. It also has a connections to Vitalik Buterin, why rollups are fundamentals to ETH. And yeah, he pretty much made a lineup of what is currently happening and what it will do. Low transaction costs, very fast speed transaction, functionality rich, usability easy, native affordable storage, layers, security. And yeah, I think you should follow this guy because he's pretty much going deep, in depth. The Metis organically planned to be fully EVM compatible, but it learned that doing so made it much more difficult for devs to build on it. As a result, Metis has settled the EVM equivalence. Optimism is also likely to implement equivalence, but O's plans sacrifice decentralization. And what make this project more bullish for me is that it really has a connection to Vitalik Buterin, because his mother is basically a researcher of this whole ecosystem of this Metis project. Natalie Emmeline. So yeah, that's basically what I've been doing. There's a little thread of this guy. I only tweet very little, so listen up. My next big one is Metis DAO, Metis, and he said this is the best L2 rollup tech out there. Ethereum 2.0 sharding will be built on top of EVM rollups, infinitely scalable due to parallel sequences. Withdraw to L1 eventually natively in minutes. Vitalik Buterin's mothers are now on a team. Vitalik knows CEO since the child Vitalik's role behind it. And it does work with an EPVS storage. And yeah, it has a low market cap. So I'm very bullish on this one. So I hope this was a good video. Very short, very small. I like to keep it very crispy, not too long videos. So there's really a war going on. As you can see, there's a lot of money flowing out of Ethereum going into these L2s. And we all have seen these top 6, top 5 coins basically trying to be the next L2 solution for Ethereum. So as of Vitalik said, yeah, that the RAWs will still have a significant role as in Ethereum 2.0. So that's what everyone's trying to focus in on right now. And yeah, I would suggest you to go check out this video of this guy. His name is, he has a YouTube channel called DeFi Masterclass. And I pretty much try to make a whole conclusion of his videos, but I basically learned a lot of his videos. He's basically explaining all the technical stuff of the L2s, what's happening. So I try to make my own video about it. So go follow his channel, his YouTube channel, DeFi Masterclass, because he's pretty much on point with his video and I learned a lot of it. So I'm trying to make my own video about it because I've seen it. It's very interesting for me to know more about the technical stuff. So yeah, I basically at the end of my video, drop a like, subscribe with my YouTube channel. My name is Joop from the Clips. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video. And stay safe, keep learning. And I'll see y'all out. Bang, bang.